The world doesn't stop when you break. It doesn't pause when you cry. It doesn't whisper your name when you're gone. And that's the truth most people can't handle. Nobody cares. Nobody's waiting for your comeback. Nobody's counting your missed chances. Nobody's checking if you still believe in yourself. The world keeps spinning cold, fast, and blind. And somewhere in that chaos, you're standing still, hoping someone will notice your pain. But they won't. And that's good, because this, right here, is where the real story begins. Not when someone saves you, but when you realize no one's coming. You're on your own, and that's your power. You see, comfort kills warriors. Sympathy builds weakness. The day you stop expecting the world to understand you is the day you start building yourself. They say, nobody cares about your struggle. You say, perfect. Because the moment they stop caring, you stop performing for them. You stop living for applause. You stop chasing validation that never mattered. You start fighting for one thing yourself. The silence you feel right now. The quiet that scares you. That's not loneliness. That's freedom. The world doesn't stop when you break. It doesn't pause when you cry. It doesn't whisper your name when you're gone. And that's the truth most people can't handle. Nobody cares. Nobody's waiting for your comeback. Nobody's counting your missed chances. Nobody's checking if you still believe in yourself. The world keeps spinning cold, fast, and blind. And somewhere in that chaos, you're standing still, hoping someone will notice your pain. But they won't. And that's good, because this, right here, is where the real story begins. Not when someone saves you, but when you realize no one's coming. You're on your own, and that's your power. You see, comfort kills warriors. Sympathy builds weakness. And the day you stop expecting the world to understand you is the day you start building yourself. They say, nobody cares about your struggle. You say, perfect. Because the moment they stop caring, you stop performing for them. You stop living for applause. You stop chasing validation that never mattered. You start fighting for one thing yourself. The silence you feel right now. The quiet that scares you. That's not loneliness. That's freedom. The world doesn't stop when you break. It doesn't pause when you cry. It doesn't whisper your name when you're gone. And that's the truth most people can't handle. Nobody cares. Nobody's waiting for your comeback. Nobody's counting your missed chances. Nobody's checking if you still believe in yourself. The world keeps spinning cold, fast, and blind. And somewhere in that chaos, you're standing still, hoping someone will notice your pain. But they won't. And that's good, because this, right here, is where the real story begins. Not when someone saves you, but when you realize no one's coming. You're on your own, and that's your power. You see, comfort kills warriors. Sympathy builds weakness. The day you stop expecting the world to understand you is the day you start building yourself. They say, nobody cares about your struggle. You say, perfect. Because the moment they stop caring, you stop performing for them. You stop living for applause. You stop chasing validation that never mattered. You start fighting for one thing yourself. The silence you feel right now. The quiet that scares you. That's not loneliness. That's freedom. That's the moment you finally see what's real. There's no crowd, no hand to pull you up. Just you, your breath, and the sound of your heartbeat saying, prove it. This world isn't cruel, it's honest. It gives you pain instead of promises. It gives you rejection instead of reward. And through that, it gives you the chance to evolve. You've been waiting for life to get easier. But what if it never does? What if this is it? The struggle, the grind, the fight. Would you still rise? Most people won't. They'll fold when the pressure hits. They'll call it unfair and wait for sympathy that will never come. But not you. You were never meant to be ordinary. You were never meant to wait. You were meant to create pressure, to turn pain into motion, silence into fuel, loneliness into power. Because when you stop waiting for help, you stop being weak. Every time you say nobody cares, what you're really saying is, now I'm free. Free from expectations. Free from pity. Free from the need to explain your worth. Nobody cares. And that's why you can become unstoppable. Do you know why legends are built in silence? Because silence is where truth lives. It's where pain becomes purpose. It's where the world forgets you. And you rebuild yourself so strong also that when you return, the world has no choice but to remember your name. So stop waiting. Stop posting your pain online for likes. Stop hoping someone will understand. Understand yourself. Trust your own chaos. Because this life isn't a movie. There's no hero coming. You are both the villain and the savior. You are the one who falls and the one who rises. You are the one who breaks and the one who rebuilds from the ashes. That's the paradox of strength. You only find it when nobody cares. You want the truth? Here it is. You'll cry and no one will comfort you. You'll lose and no one will clap. You'll grind for years and the world will stay silent. But one day, when you rise, when your power shakes the ground, when your name becomes a storm, that same silence will turn into fear, respect, and awe. Not because they finally cared, but because you made them. So let the world ignore you. Let them doubt. Let them forget. That's your greatest gift. Because while they sleep, you build. While they talk, you bleed. While they care about everything, you care about one thing: winning your war. Nobody cares. And that's beautiful. Because now, you're finally free to fight, without permission. So when they ask, why do you train so hard? Tell them, because no one's coming to save me. When they ask, why do you keep going? Say, because pain is my teacher. And when they ask, why do you never quit? Smile, because they'll never understand what it means to be forged in fire while the world watches in silence. This is your awakening. This is your beginning. Not the part where they care, but the part where you stop caring that they don't. Because only when you stop chasing sympathy do you start chasing greatness. And greatness doesn't need witnesses. It needs warriors. And you were born for war. You wake up tired. Not because you worked too hard yesterday, but because your mind hasn't stopped fighting itself. You scroll, you stare, you sigh. You tell yourself you'll start tomorrow. But deep down, you know you've said that 100 times before. That's the problem. You've built a habit of waiting. Waiting for motivation. Waiting for the perfect time. Waiting for the world to notice your effort. And every time you wait, you lose a piece of yourself. You keep telling yourself you're not ready. But life doesn't care if you're ready. It moves fast, ruthless, unforgiving. And the more you stand still, the more it drags you down. The truth is brutal. You are your own worst enemy. Not the haters. Not the system. Not your past. You. It's you who presses snooze when the alarm rings. It's you who says, one more video, when it's time to work. It's you who hides behind excuses that sound reasonable, but kill your potential. You say you want change, but comfort has become your addiction. And every time pain knocks, you run back to the same habits, the same safety, the same weakness. That's how the weak version of you survives, by convincing you it's too hard, too late, too painful, and you believe it every single time. But here's the thing nobody tells you. That voice inside your head isn't trying to protect you. It's trying to control you. It feeds on your hesitation. It grows every time you quit. It's the same voice that whispers, "Take it easy. It's fine to skip today. You'll start when you feel better." And the more you listen, the more you fall asleep in your own life. You start existing, not living. Breathing, not fighting. Dreaming, but never doing. You become a ghost inside your own body, alive but hollow. You watch others build what you wish for, and you convince yourself they got lucky. No, they didn't. They just refused to be slaves to their excuses. Because the truth is, you're not tired. You're untrained. You're not lost. You're unfocused. You're not broken. You're undisciplined. And that's the harsh reality that burns to accept. You created this prison. You built it with every, "I'll do it later." You reinforced it with every, "I don't feel like it." And now you're locked inside it, staring through the bars at the life you could have had. The worst part, you know exactly what you should be doing. But knowing doesn't change anything. Doing does. And that's where most people die, in the space between knowing and doing. You tell yourself you'll start when motivation comes. But motivation doesn't visit the weak. It visits those already in motion. You think discipline is born from feeling ready. No, it's born from doing it, even when you hate it, especially when you hate it. Because that's when growth happens, not when it's easy, but when it burns. The truth is, you've gotten comfortable being average. You've convinced yourself that surviving is enough. But survival isn't living. It's surrender. You weren't built to survive. You were built to conquer, to fight, to evolve, to dominate your weakness. But weakness doesn't show up wearing armor. It shows up in small, quiet ways. In comfort, distraction, laziness. It looks like peace, but it's poison. You think scrolling your feed is harmless, but it's stealing your fire. You think skipping one workout doesn't matter, but it's one more brick on the wall of regret. And every time you give in, you tell your mind, "I can't be trusted." That's why you feel lost, because you've broken your own trust. You said you'd change, you didn't. You said you'd stay consistent, you quit. You said you'd chase greatness. You got comfortable. And now, every day feels heavy, because deep down, you know you're living below your potential. You're haunted by what you could have been, and that ghost follows you everywhere. At night, when it's quiet, you feel it, that ache in your chest, that voice saying, "You were meant for more." But instead of listening, you distract yourself again, because facing your truth is painful. And pain is the one thing you keep avoiding, not realizing it's the only thing that can set you free. You think your life will change when you find motivation. It won't. It will change when you decide that comfort is the enemy. You think strength comes from winning. It doesn't. It comes from showing up when you have nothing left. And that's your problem. You've forgotten how to fight when it hurts. You want greatness, but you still want it easy. You want transformation, but you fear discomfort. You want power, but you run from pain. You can't have both. Either you keep your excuses, or you become unstoppable, but not both. So be honest. How long will you keep waiting for a better time? Because there is no better time. There's only now, and the clock is bleeding your life away second by second. You are not broken. You are not unlucky. You are just waiting, and waiting is the slowest form of dying. You have one enemy. It's not out there, it's in the mirror. And until you learn to defeat that version of you, the lazy one, the scared one, the doubtful one, you'll never touch your potential. That's the truth nobody wants to hear. That's the problem nobody wants to face. But you're not here to hide. You're here to face it, to break it, to burn it, to become what you were always meant to be. The fire within you. You want to change? Then stop waiting for the world to give you permission. No one's coming. No one's clapping. No one's saving you. And that's exactly why you're free. Because the moment you stop waiting for help, you unlock the truth. You are the help. You are the weapon. You are the storm that's been sleeping inside your chest. You don't need more motivation. You need war. A war with the version of yourself that says, I can't. A war with the comfort that whispers, take it easy. A war with the voice that tells you, you've done enough. Because you haven't. Not yet. You have a fire inside you, but it's trapped under hesitation, distraction, and doubt. And it will stay trapped until you decide to suffer for something greater. That's the secret nobody wants to hear. Greatness is born from pain, not peace. You think the strong were chosen? No. They were forged. Forged in dark rooms, on sleepless nights, when no one believed in them. And they still showed up. They kept going when it was unfair. They kept pushing when it hurt. They kept building when it felt pointless. That's why they became unbreakable. So what do you do now? You stop thinking. You stop planning. You act. Not tomorrow. Not when it's easy. Now. You wake up and you move. Even when it burns. Even when your mind screams, stop. Even when your body begs to quit. You go anyway. Because that's how you train your spirit. By doing what the weak version of you refuses to do. You don't find strength by avoiding pain. You find it by walking straight into it. You don't build power by winning once. You build it by refusing to lose the same battle twice. And every time you choose discipline over comfort, a part of the old you dies. Good, let it. That version of you, the one that doubted, hesitated, complained, he doesn't belong in your next chapter. Let him burn. Let him scream. Let him fade into the dust of who you used to be. And when the fire settles, what's left is raw, real, unstoppable will. That's the real transformation. It's not about success. It's about becoming dangerous to your own weakness. Discipline is your weapon. Pain is your training ground. And every day you show up, you sharpen your blade a little more. Stop saying, I'll try. Try is soft. Try means you've already planned your excuse. Say, I will. Say, I must. Say, no matter what. Because when your words start carrying weight, your life starts following them. You want focus? Turn off the noise. You want strength? Train when you're tired. You want peace? Earn it through war. No shortcut, no hack. Just pure unfiltered effort. And don't chase perfection. Chase progress. Because perfection is a trap. Progress is a weapon. Every rep, every hour, every failure, it all builds the foundation of the person you're becoming. You're not weak because you fall. You're weak only if you stay down. So rise. Even if it's slow. Even if it hurts. Even if no one sees you. Because the truth is, the process doesn't need an audience. It just needs your will. Pain is not your enemy. Pain is proof that you're growing. Pain is the price of evolution. You think you're suffering? Good. That means you're in the arena. That means you're fighting the part of you that held you back for years. Let others seek comfort. You seek challenge. Let others chase attention. You chase mastery. Let others talk about dreams. You build them in silence. Every drop of sweat, every second of effort, every silent battle, it all adds up. And one day you'll look in the mirror and not recognize the person staring back. Not because you changed, but because you finally became who you were meant to be. That's the power of discipline. It doesn't ask how you feel. It just demands you show up. Because real strength isn't loud. It's not flashy. It's quiet, ruthless, consistent. When everyone else quits, you'll still be moving. When everyone else sleeps, you'll still be grinding. When everyone else doubts, you'll still be rising. And slowly, the world will start to feel your presence. Not because you told them, but because your energy will speak louder than your words ever could. The secret to life is simple. You don't need motivation. You need momentum. Keep moving. Keep building. Keep fighting. Even when it's boring. Even when it's hard. Even when no one notices. Because every small action compounds. And one day it erupts. That's when they'll call you unstoppable. That's when they'll say you got lucky. But you'll know, luck had nothing to do with it. It was blood. It was sweat. It was years of quiet wars. And you fought them all, alone. So here's the truth. No savior is coming. No motivation is strong enough. No hack is going to fix your life. Only you. And when you finally accept that, the game changes. Because then you stop waiting for miracles, and you start becoming one. So this is your final command. Rise. Rise until your fear breaks. Rise until your limits bleed. Rise until there's nothing left of the old you. Because that's the only way you'll ever meet the real you. The one who doesn't flinch. The one who doesn't beg. The one who doesn't quit. And when they ask what changed, you won't tell them about luck or timing or motivation. You'll look them straight in the eyes and say, I stopped negotiating with my weakness. Because that's what killed the old you. Not pain, not failure, but hesitation. You burned bridges. You faced storms. You walked through the fire. And somewhere in between the chaos and the silence, you became someone new. Someone who doesn't need approval. Someone who doesn't wait for permission. Someone who moves even when no one claps. Because now you know. The world doesn't reward potential. It rewards proof. And every scar on your body, every failure you turned into fuel, that is your proof. Proof that you didn't quit when it was easier to. Proof that you showed up when it hurt the most. So walk. Walk into the storm like it was built for you. Walk into your purpose like it's the only thing keeping you alive. Walk like every step you take is erasing the weak man you used to be. Because he's still inside, waiting for you to slip, to slow down, to settle. But you won't. Not anymore. Now when pain comes, you smile. When fear whispers, you move. When doubt speaks, you silence it with action. That's what separates the dreamers from the doers, the talkers from the killers, the men who wish from the men who become. So don't pray for an easy road. Pray for the strength to keep walking when it gets dark. Because that's where greatness is born. In the unseen hours, in the quiet wars, in the moments no one will ever know about. One day they'll ask, "How did you do it?" And you'll just smile. Because they'll never understand what it took. The nights you bled, the mornings you rose, the voices you had to silence inside your head. But you'll know. You'll remember the pain that built your discipline, the fear that taught you courage, and the silence that showed you who you really are. So keep walking, keep fighting, keep becoming, because the man you were born to be isn't waiting for you in comfort. He's waiting for you in the fire. Now rise and never come back.